What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen that title was going down. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Got Zohran Mamdani in this interview. And I want to check this out. For multiple reasons. I had seen a small clip on X. And I had some things to call out. Y'all know me. One thing about me is that I'm always do my best with calling out, facts and the truth, about this, about anything, that I post. And I find it, pretty wild that, Mamdani, this isn't obviously his first interview, but these interviews that he keeps putting himself, in. First of all, I'm not gonna lie, the interviews that I've seen, a lot of these interviewers, I feel like definitely go really, really soft. I've noticed that, and this is nothing to make it seem, it's always a certain way, with whether it's a Democrat or Republican, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. When it comes to individuals on the left, it's almost like a lot of the times in the interviews that I see, they go extremely soft. The questions that they ask, everything. I want to start this, obviously at a position that I want to, watch over and stuff like that. But I watched some of this interview before. Obviously, I haven't watched this part of the interview that we gonna look in and check in today. If y'all want to check this out, it's on NBC News, which I know a lot of y'all not. A lot of y'all watch, myself and others, within this. But definitely, if y'all want to go check it out, it's NBC News. But she was asking these questions up until the start, which you start at 50 seconds a minute, up until I'll say the 11-minute mark, she asked the same question in a different form. And y'all, I'm telling y'all have to believe me. If y'all want to go see for yourselves, just go see. And it just goes to show you on how they work and what they do. But check this out, y'all. Enough of me talking.
And that continues to be the work that we do with Albany, as well as right here in City Hall.
All right, let's talk about President Trump. When we last spoke after your first Oval Office meeting, one that surprised a lot of people in how cordial it was. How would you describe your relationship with President Trump right now?
I would say that it's honest, it's direct, and it's productive.
And are you still in regular contact with him? How often do you speak to the president?
I'll keep the cadence of that between the two of us. Much of that is based on the premise of privacy. But what I will say is that those conversations, no matter how they happen, they return back to one thing, one of the few things that we have in common, which is our love for New York City and how to deliver for this same city. He said it after the first meeting that we had in the Oval Office. He told the press that were there that the better this city does, the happier he feels. That's exactly how I feel about the city as well.
Understood. You're not going to give me the exact cadence, but is it fair to say you have had, to some extent, ongoing discussions since that first Oval Office meeting?
Yes, and we've seen a second meeting at the Oval Office, and much of this is a reflection of the fact that he's the president of the United States of America, I'm the mayor of New York City, and we know that so much of what this city needs is also dependent on a relationship with the federal administration. We are sitting here in City Hall, and I've spoken often about my belief that Fiorello LaGuardia is the greatest mayor in our city's history. I shared that with the president as well, and I pointed at a portrait of FDR that he had shown me. And I said that so much of what LaGuardia was able to accomplish was because of a relationship with FDR, was because of the New Deal investments that we saw. And that's
I feel like when Mamdani speaks and when he says these things, he always gets questioned. He always gets questioned. And this is my thing. This man will continue to sit here and make, and they always ask these questions. What is your relationship with Trump, or how was it with Trump, or what did you say to Trump to do? A lot of the things that he's saying, believe it or not, he's telling a lie. I'm letting y'all know that right now. I'm telling y'all that he's definitely telling a lie when it comes down to it, and he's trying to make himself sound good to make President Trump sound like a weakling. Basically.
In the second meeting that I had with the president, I put forward a proposal to build more housing in a single development than the city has seen since the early 70s. And it was something that he was interested in, and that's a big part of the conversation we're continuing to have.
Many Democratic mayors, governors, members of Congress have struggled to figure out how to navigate their relationship with President Trump. What do you think you have gotten right about that? What do you think that you're doing that's been effective so far?
I think, to be honest with you, I am lucky in that I have something that no one else does, which is that I'm from New York City. And New York City holds a very special place for him, as well as for me. We're both from this same city. And it means that our conversations are not just of the scale that is typical with the president, but also granular about even the things as specific as zoning law changes in Midtown Manhattan. And that, I think, speaks to the fact that Donald Trump is not just the president of this country, he's also someone who's been a New Yorker for his entire life, and there's an investment in this city doing well.
Because you've now had a number of conversations with President Trump, do you trust President Trump?
I would say that those conversations are ones where we know they have to continue, and there have been times where I have raised things to the president. For example, in that last meeting, it was a meeting that we mostly spoke about this housing development. But over the course of the meeting, I did mention that just that morning that ICE had detained a Columbia University student. I mentioned to him that this was part of a larger trend that we had seen of 5 individuals being detained in or around Columbia University. I gave him a list of those 5. 30 minutes after the meeting, he called me and said he had now made the decision to release her. And so I think we see in those decisions the worth of a relationship that is both honest and.
But then again, though, like going back, to this.
We mostly spoke about this housing development, but over the course of the meeting, I did mention that just that morning that ICE had detained a Columbia University student. I mentioned to him that this was part of a larger trend that we had seen of 5 individuals being detained in or around Columbia University. I gave him a list of those 5. 30 minutes after the meeting, he called me and said he had now made the decision to release her. And so I think we see in those decisions.
But I feel like he's also like trying to again like make himself sound good about it, like him mentioning 5 and probably more than 5, about that. And honestly, ICE is, most of the time, all the time. Honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. From what I've seen, obviously, when it comes down to a lot, from what I've seen, 100% of the time, ICE is doing their job. And the thing that gets me is this has been happening. This is nothing new. And that's how you know that when it comes down to a lot of things that's been happening, 2026, I even say 2025, people have, and just now, especially this like upcoming generation, I feel like has just gotten soft within a lot, because this has been going on for years with ICE and everything. It definitely has. And him saying that and saying, oh, he gave him 5 individuals, and 30 minutes later, he did that. And I feel like that's bogus. I truly feel like this bogus, and I feel like this is one of the things that people say, obviously for President Trump to watch out for, because you have people like him. But at the same time, like, he's trying to make himself sound good. He's definitely trying to make himself sound good. Basically, like, I told the president this name, she needs to be released, and he released her within 30 minutes. Like, he got it like that. And I'm glad he said that, so it can be out there like, you really think you just hot shit because, I mentioned this to President Trump. I guarantee everything that he's saying right now, it didn't go that way with President Trump. He probably said those things, but I guarantee his whole demeanor, everything, the way he asked, everything was definitely not the way that he's making it seem.
The worth of a relationship that is both honest and direct and looking to be productive. And that honesty means acknowledging places of disagreement. When I was telling him that, I also told him, as I've said time and again, that I believe these ICE raids to be cruel, to be inhumane, and to do nothing to serve in the stated interest that it has, which is that of public safety.
Given that you have found some common ground with President Trump, would you say at this moment you trust him?
I would say that he is someone I will continue to speak with, and that I think, like with any politician, myself or himself or any other one, we should be judged by the actions that we have.
You and President Trump arguably both won on similar messages of affordability. New York City already had one of the highest energy rates in the country. Now, the war with Iran has triggered the worst oil disruption in U.S. history. Is there anything that you can or will do as mayor to help alleviate some of the high costs that New Yorkers are bearing right now due to the war in Iran?
We are looking to deliver relief to New Yorkers, frankly, even from before this war, because while this war has exacerbated a cost of living crisis, that is a crisis that existed from even before the time I was running for mayor. And it's reflected in the fact that we are the most expensive city in the United States of America. But I think your question also gets back to the fact that this is a war to not just be opposed on political grounds, on moral grounds, but even just on economic grounds. We are speaking about a federal administration that has spent upwards of $28 billion, killing thousands of people all the way over in the Middle East at the same time as we're being told that this money cannot be found to invest in working class Americans across this country. And I wish that the words of Tupac from the 90s weren't still prescient, but they continue to be true for too many, which is that we always have money for war and not to feed the poor.
I know you're the mayor of New York, but there are diplomatic talks that President Trump says could be restarting.
My thing is, why continue to talk about war this and war that? This is my thing when it comes down to it. We talking about something that obviously a country that has literally came out and said bad things about America, this, that, and the other. It goes to show you that when they say things about that, and when they truly don't care about America and Americans. Honestly, me personally, that's how I feel when it comes down to Zohran. For really most of the left that's saying something about it. They truly, and I don't know what it will take for people to actually realize what they're about, especially people like Zohran Mamdani. I don't get it.
You support those diplomatic talks given the strong perspective that you have on Iran?
I support the end of this war, and anything that can deliver that I think is critically important. I support that not just as an American, but also as the mayor of this city, and I say that because at the core of any war is a dehumanization that takes place. It is never confined to a battlefield. Recently, I read of a report of a hate crime that took place at a subway station. I called the young woman. She told me that she was a young Muslim woman and that right before her attacker threw her to the ground, the first thing that he said to her was, "I wonder how many Iranians we killed today." That's what these kinds of actions also breed. They breed a vision of the world where there is division, where there is a debate as to who belongs. We're looking to lead a city where we understand that anyone who lives here belongs here. It's time to deliver for all of them.
Let's talk about ICE. You just referenced ICE. In the midst of the government shutdown, President Trump deployed ICE agents to airports across America, including right here in New York. In the wake of that, former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon suggested that there could be a test run for sending ICE to polling places in the midterms. What will you do if ICE agents show up to polling places in the midterm elections?
I will do everything in my power to ensure that that is not the case. And I think it speaks to a vision of this country where democracy is something to be suppressed as opposed to something to be protected. And I think that what we are seeing time and time again is an attempt to utilize ICE for all of the other functions of government that Republicans are unable to fund because they don't want to ensure that these kinds of quality of services continue across our country.
And I know you're not going to get into specifics of your conversations with President Trump, but have you directly raised this issue with him? Have you said to President Trump that you don't want ICE agents here ahead of the midterms?
I've said to the president it has nothing to do with elections. I've said to him time and time again that ICE is a cruel and inhumane agency, and that here in New York City, we are focused on delivering public safety. I talk about affordability every single day. I know that affordability, it is premised on the delivery of public safety first and foremost. That's why, whether it's the president I'm talking to or anyone else for that matter, I speak about the fact that our approach to public safety in New York City, it's working. We've delivered the lowest recorded murders in New York City history, the joint lowest recorded shootings in New York City history. Staten Island has gone more than 180 days without a murder. Major crimes are down.
But I feel like also that's not a flex. Like, me personally, that's not a flex. I feel like that's something that you should obviously be proud of. But at the same time, that ain't even like nothing that like you should flex out. That's something that should already be, situated. You saying and promising this, promising that, you saying that you're gonna be better for this, better for that, then just do it. Rather than trying to make everything this whole oh, I need to put it on social media. I need to put this out here because all the rest of my mess ups that I have. You know what I mean? It's wild.
The 9%.
It's definitely wild.
We know what we need to do to deliver safety. We have the NYPD tasked with that responsibility. To think that ICE should be doing that, it speaks to a complete abdication, frankly, of the kind of politics that New Yorkers are looking for.
Let's talk about the Democratic Party and the future of the Democratic Party. Former Vice President Kamala Harris said just last week she is thinking about running for president again. Would you like to see former Vice President Kamala Harris run for president again?
I have to be honest, I haven't thought about the candidacies for president this time. My focus is 2026.
You're the only Democrat who hasn't thought about that.
Because he don't want her to be president. I mean, just say this, all right?
And I'm proud to say that I am not and will never be running for president. And here in 2026, I want to be delivering for New Yorkers. And when it comes to the national level, I want to
But that's the thing. He'll say something like that. And I feel like also like he has so much of that hate that's not only like around America, but also like in New York City. There's many videos of people that even voted for him that had turned, on him. But people got to realize too, though, like, first off, let's start off by saying this. And I apologize for sniffing and all of that, y'all. My allergies are horrible today. Weather changing, everything. But let me tell y'all something. Within Zohran Mamdani, he will literally say, oh, yeah, y'all, you will never see me run for president. You'll never see me do this. You'll never see me do that. Y'all know how you do that? Because he's trying his best to make it seem like he's all for New York City. He's going to continue to do that. If y'all just watch him speak sometimes, he'll always say, my main focus is on New York City. My main focus is on New York City. And he get that fake ass smile. I'm telling y'all, that's his main thing that he does because he wants people to think that's in New York City. Oh, Zohran is for us. He's saying that we're going to get free this, we're going to get free that. And I just love the guy because he's giving us this free. He's saying his main focus is on New York City. Bro, it's all BS. I'm telling y'all, it's all BS. All for the cameras.
Win these midterms and actually have a vision that we're fighting for, not just one that we're fighting against.
Given that former Vice President Kamala Harris was the nominee in 2024, do you think she would be the strongest person to represent Democrats in 2028?
I know you're trying to get me to answer the previous question again.
Trying.
But I have to be honest with you. I think that New Yorkers are tired of politicians pontificating about other politicians. What they want to see are results. And that's why my focus has been more on potholes than on politics.
Let me ask you about some New York politicians.
Okay.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer notably did not endorse you in the general election. And now there's a big discussion about generational leadership in your party, as you know. Just 3 years ago, do you think that Senator Schumer should step aside as leader of Senate Democrats?
I have to be honest with you. This is another question that gets into the future, gets into 2028.
Well, this is a New Yorker, though. This is personal for you in some way, in terms of your politics here.
And I'll tell you that right now my focus is on working with everyone, and that includes Senator Schumer, it includes others as well. And it's not predicated on, did you endorse me in the election or not? Because everyone is a New Yorker who has the opportunity to deliver for this city. Recently I worked with Senator Schumer to deliver on a hub of relief for delivery workers right here across from City Hall. That's what it looks like to actually work with anyone and everyone. We're going to continue to do that.
Would you like to see Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez challenge Senator Schumer for his seat as a part of the generational change that's being discussed?
I will tell you this, that I have had the privilege of being represented by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and it was an honor to have that be my experience. Now it's an honor to work with her as an incredible Congresswoman, and I'm excited to see whatever it is that she decides to do next. I don't think she's made a decision as yet, but we're very proud of her here in New York City.
Do you have any thoughts about this debate over generational change? Is it time for a younger generation of politicians in the Democratic Party?
I think it's time for a party that reflects the urgency that we're seeing across this country in terms of a hunger, frankly, that is not as much tied just to age, but to vision. We know very well what we oppose. What are we for? That is a question that I think we have to be able to answer. What are we fighting for? It was not just enough in this mayoral campaign to say that I wasn't like other mayoral candidates. We had to always answer the question of New Yorkers, what we deliver for them. And I really think that that is at the heart of the question for our party. And I'll be honest with you, when you look back at the history books of our party, 100 years ago, we had a very clear vision of what we were fighting for. And it is sad that for too many Americans, when they want to look for ambition in the Democratic Party, they have to turn to a history book.
I want to ask you about some of the focus on you, your family, the First Lady. She got a lot of attention after and I know you've been asked about this, she liked posts. They appeared to celebrate Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th. You've said she's her own private person. But I want to ask you, and I think some of your allies want to know from you, do you think it's wrong to celebrate those terror attacks on October 7th?
I want to make very clear. I think that
that's some BS. That's some BS. And the crazy thing is, y'all gonna say I was reckless. Let's hear what he got to say, bruh. I feel like if you getting this question asked, I'm gonna play it over. Just listen to this.
She got a lot of attention after
Just listen.
And I know you've been asked about this. She liked posts. They appeared to celebrate Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th. You've said she's her own private person. But I want to ask you, and I think some of your allies want to know from you, do you think it's wrong to celebrate those terror attacks on October?
Do you think it's wrong to celebrate? I don't care what nobody, if that's me and my wife and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I really, really, really hope that my internet is still on, y'all. I don't know what just happened, but I think something just shut off. We still rolling though. So my thing is, if that was my wife, I'm gonna be real with y'all, and she did those things, you would just easily come out and say, you know what, it's very wrong. It's not to bash nobody. It's just being truthful, because when you sit there and you do that, obviously the people will look at you a certain way. They'll look at you a different way, seeing how you've been messing up. So seeing how he's already been messing up, and he's already, I find it completely crazy. I truly find it completely crazy for the simple fact that this man isn't being real and just saying, you know what, it was wrong. It was wrong. It's things, that we did talk about that was in her past. She's this way now. She's that. We ain't got none of that, bro. We ain't got none of that at all. None of that apply. This has been going on for how long? Oh, what is it? A month now? Over a month? Something like that? It's been a while. And you haven't got a straight answer yet. She just asked this question. Y'all know the first thing this man says?
October 7th.
I want to make very clear. I think that October 7th was a horrific war crime. I think that Hamas is a terrorist organization. And I think that any violation of international law is something that should be opposed. And I believe that because I have a belief in universal politics, whether it applies to here in New York City or anywhere across the world.
In this whole minute this man been talking, has he said anything about his wife? He ain't said nothing about his wife. If you asking the question about individual, you asking about the wife, you know that this has been a topic for a little bit. It tells you everything you need to know. I don't care what anybody, it literally, you support Zohran Mamdani, you might as well say you support the people who, that obviously all these individuals, Hassan Piker, you might as well say that. I'm just being 100. Because I feel like there's no way, bro. There's no way people are supporting Zohran Mamdani when he's literally basically saying, like, you know what? I support what my wife said. Whatever my wife said, it's okay. That's basically what he's saying.
And I'll also be honest with you that when New Yorkers come up to me and they're asking me questions, most of these questions come back to, can I make my rent? Can I find a way to afford to live in the most expensive city in the United States of America? Can I afford groceries? That's really what our focus has been as an administration.
What do you say to New Yorkers who might want to hear from the First Lady herself on this?
Well, I'll say to them that, the First Lady has shared her own reflections. I won't add my words to hers, but that I'm so proud that I get to call her my wife. She's an incredible woman. And
bro, nobody don't care about that, bro. I feel like nobody honestly gives y'all about to make me cuss, bro. Nobody cares, bro. No, literally nobody cares. I'm being so for real with y'all. Nobody cares. He always, oh, my wife, she's just amazing and she is so beautiful for what. Trust me, bro. We way past that now. We way past that now. We trying to figure out. Honestly, we don't even got to figure it out. We already figured it out. When they initially asked him about his wife post, what she said, what she did, and he wanted to beat around the bush and say this and say that tell you everything you need to know.
Ask you about some of the Islamophobia that we have seen recently. You are the first Muslim mayor of New York City, and some Republicans in Congress have posted what are outwardly Islamophobic comments in the wake of the war with Iran. Congressman Randy Fine, for example, even saying, quote, "We need more Islamophobia, not less." How are you reflecting on that rhetoric as a Muslim American serving as the mayor of America's biggest city?
I think it's disgusting. And I think it's a reflection of a kind of bigotry that, frankly, isn't just confined to a Republican Party. It's become endemic to political life across this country. And what makes it unique is not the fact of its bigotry. Many Americans of different faiths face bigotry. What makes it unique to me is the way in which it is treated as permissible, that it's acceptable, that it's just a fact of life, that it isn't something to be spoken up in opposition to. And I'm less concerned for myself. I'm more concerned, frankly, for so many Muslims who face these same kinds of attacks, but we don't know their names. They don't have the privilege of serving as the mayor of the city. And I'm concerned about them because I'm concerned about anyone who calls the city home. And how do we ensure that they never feel that their belonging is in question? They never feel that because of who they are or where they come from, they don't deserve the same things as anyone else.
The suspects accused of throwing explosives outside your residence were
My
arraigned
thing
this
is,
week
what's she about to ask him?
and pleaded not guilty. As you sit here, are you worried about your own personal safety?
Nah, he not. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, he not. What? Let me see what he said.
I'm very thankful to have hardworking men and women of the NYPD who keep me safe and keep New Yorkers safe each and every day. I don't fear for my safety.
Y'all want to know why he don't fear for his safety? Because this is stuff that they love. This is stuff that I'm telling y'all, bro. It's literally, I feel like so much of this stuff is in front of, like, I'm not crazy. I'm like, I pinch my, am I tripping? I'm being so for, like, am I tripping? Like, people literally support. Somebody ran up. Now he thanked the NYPD and this, that, and the other. I thought, man, this is crazy, bro. It's truly wild to me. It's truly wild to me just for the simple fact. This man, and I don't know, y'all probably like, well, what are you supposed to say? Even if he did, I'm just saying, I just find it completely crazy that he's saying this. And the things that he's saying is literally, is giving you everything you need to know. If you actually pay attention and listen to this man, it's literally giving you everything you need to know. Everything. Now, here's a little bit, literally everything you need to know about him. And who he loves, if he cares about Americans or not, it's literally giving you everything. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Enough of me talking. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love, everybody. Catch y'all next one.